Hey family, today our gist is about our friends, family members, daughters, for those of you that have very grown-up daughters who are about to marry, and if you yourself are about to get married. So what's the gist about today? We are gisting about whose counsel you should rely on when you are about choosing a life partner. Should you rely on the counsel of your very close friend who is not married but very good and you love her advice or you love his advice? Okay, so the video is not just about the ladies, also the men. So should you just rely on the advice of that? Should I marry this man? Should I marry this girl? And your friend says, oh yes, she's a good person, he's a good person. Is that enough confirmation to marry that person? Well, I will give you a few reasons why you should not rely entirely on the advice of your unmarried friend. Now, your friend may be good, your friend may be very observant, but you see, you only give advice based on what you know. It is good you seek the advice of your friend. Of course, they must have observed one or two things concerning this person that you want to get married to. So it is good you also want to find out from your friend, how is this person? Do you think, or should I go ahead and accept this person's proposal? That's if the friend is a very good friend. It's good you seek their opinion. But relying on it entirely to make a decision whether or not you should marry that man or whether or not you should marry that woman is not the best. You can't rely entirely on that decision. You will need the advice of an elderly person, someone who has walked that path before. Now, what your friend who is not married can see is what is present, like what the person can see, the person's attitude right now and all of that. But when you seek an elderly person's counsel, the person has been through a lot in his or her life, has gone through what you are about going through, probably have seen one or two cases, similar cases with the person you are about to get married to, and the person can advise you better. So, seeking counsel for who to marry, the very first person you want to seek counsel from is yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't hide all those red flags when the person is acting up somehow and you just feel, oh, it's love. The second person I say person because it's actually a person, is the Holy Spirit. I keep saying that I'm a Christian and I love to just talk about my belief in my videos. You need to ask God, who is able to give good things, who knows the end from the beginning, whether or not you should marry that person. Right? Now, after praying, you need some confirmation, which is where your friends and people come in. Now, if you ask your friend whether or not you should marry that person, even though you are comfortable with whatever your friend that is not married says to you, you still need to seek counsel from an elderly person. So the person gives you counsel based on experience, based on knowledge, based on, what the person has seen in the course of life. Maybe the person have heard of cases that are close, similar to the character of the person you're about getting married to. So the person is more comfortable to advise you based on that. There are people that have gotten married before based on their best friend says, oh, the person is okay, go ahead and marry the person. And then they're married and like, ooh, the marriage is terrible. And they go back blaming their friend saying, oh, you encouraged me to marry him. The person only gave you advice based on what he or she understands at that point. At that point, there are some people that they are in school, in the university or in high school, and they ask their friend, should I date this man? At the point you're asking that your friend, should you date this man or should you marry this man? Maybe the man is poor. Your friend who has not seen someone, transforming from being poor to being very rich, gives you advice based on what he or she can see at that time. So the person tells you, no, this person is too poor. You cannot marry that kind of a person. And you agree. In 2 years' time, 3 years' time, this person that you thought was poor God has so helped the person, and now the person is rich and comfortable, and then you go back to your friend and you're blaming the friend. Oh, you told me not to marry this person. If you had advised me correctly, the person advised you based on what he or she knows. But if you are sought counsel from an elderly person, the elderly person would have been able to tell you, okay, ask you certain questions concerning this person. Is this person focused? Does this person have this present in his life? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? The person, because he or she is elderly and has been through a lot in life, can tell you, okay, with this kind of qualities, it will take long for this person to get rich. So go ahead and marry the person. But because your friend have not seen those kind of things in life, the person only judged by what he or she can see right now and tells you, don't marry the person. So always learn, even when you seek advice from your good, close besties, best friends, to go seek final advice, or to seek advice from an elderly person. Marry it together. When you are seeking advice from people, it's not so that they will give you help you make a decision. No, you are still the one who will make the decision. So what you do is seek advice that will help you make good decisions. So when you seek advice from an unmarried friend, seek advice from an elderly person, bring these two together. Bring these two advices together and find out, okay, marry this, sit down in prayers and see how these two advices work for you. But if you ask me, I will say, tit towards the advice of an elderly person more. Because what you cannot see as a young person who wants to start this journey, an elderly person who has been through a lot can see far into the future and can tell you where there will be danger and where there will be no danger. So tit more towards the advice of the elderly person than titting more towards the advice of someone who is your age mate, or someone who is younger, or someone who is your friend. You know, you are just in the same circle. Lastly, understand, I can't say this enough, understand that those advices they are giving to you is not so that they dictate your life. It's so that you can settle down and make a good decision for your life. So don't make decisions so that you can have opportunity to blame someone in the future, or to blame or to praise someone in the future. No, make the decision knowing that you will take responsibility for whatever decision you make. For whatever decision you make, you should take responsibility. All the decision, all the advice you are seeking from your friend or from an elderly person should help you make a good decision. I hope this helps you. If you're seeking counsel about who to marry, or you're seeking counsel concerning a particular thing in your life, don't just base your decision on the advice of your close friend. Seek advice of an elderly, wise person. You will be far more comfortable, you'll be far more protected in that decision you are about making. And you discover that you will make it better than relying on the advice of a good but really young person who has not seen too much into that aspect of life. I wish you well in all that you're seeking advice for, and I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, like and comment. Let's grow this family together. Until my next video, bye.